Good morning, Backyard Kids. I hope that you're all having a great month so far. We sure are here at Clearbranch, and that's because we're celebrating Christmas all month long. And that's because celebrating Christmas means celebrating Jesus. That's God's greatest gift. So this week, I've got a story for you about a young woman that you've probably heard of. And you probably feel like you already know a good bit about her already. But just humor me and sit back and listen to this story about Mary. Now, I know, you've heard of Mary, the mother of Jesus. But before she was the mother of Jesus, she was just Mary, a young woman from Nazareth. She was an ordinary girl with an ordinary name, engaged to marry an ordinary carpenter named Joseph. She lived in an ordinary town, far away from any big, exciting towns. So, of course, Mary wasn't really prepared for what happened one seemingly ordinary day. The Angel Gabriel appeared in front of her. You may remember he's kind of a big deal. He was also in last week's story. Gabriel told her that God was blessing her in a very special way. He told her not to be scared and that God was pleased with her, that she would become pregnant and give birth to a son, and that baby would be named Jesus. Then, as if all of that wasn't enough, Gabriel told Mary that this baby would grow up to be great and would be called the Son of the Most High, because this baby would be the Son of God. He also told her that her cousin Elizabeth was also pregnant, because what God says will happen will always come true. So now we don't know exactly how Mary reacted in that moment, but her mind had to be racing. That was so much to take in. But regardless of the questions that she had, Mary looked at Gabriel and she told him simply that she served the Lord. Wow, that's a pretty great decision for a young, ordinary girl. But Mary knew what she needed to do next. So do you remember what she did? Well, if you guessed that she went to visit her cousin Elizabeth, then you're right. Mary knew from what Gabriel told her that if anyone would understand what she was going through, it would be Elizabeth. After all, you should remember from last week's story that Elizabeth had experienced an amazing miracle too. So Mary traveled to visit Elizabeth, who was about 6 months pregnant at this point. And when Elizabeth saw Mary, she immediately told her that she was blessed among women and that her child was blessed. See, Elizabeth knew before even being told that Mary was pregnant because she felt her own baby leap inside of her at the sound of Mary's voice. So Mary stayed with Elizabeth for 3 months, and her heart was filled with joy the whole time. See, Mary had joy because she trusted God. And that's pretty amazing because everything in her life had just turned completely upside down. But even in all the uncertainty, Mary knew that she could celebrate because she believed that God had a plan for her life, and not just a plan, but a good plan for her life. And sure enough, the baby that was brought into the world would be the Savior that God had promised. So kids, what I want you to remember is that we can trust God too. We can believe that God has a good plan for our lives because He does. And when we do, we'll be able to have joy even when things don't go the way that we expect. So remember this week that you can celebrate because God has a good plan.